Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black Sea Theory. Today's date is the 2nd of June 2024. We've already in the midway point of the year. And I just got a question to ask you guys. Any one of you guys can answer this question. Did you guys had any resolutions for the year and did you achieve it?
Nope. Ada lah, sikit-sikit lah.
What was it?
Got a few something to do with my business lah, that's all. But yeah,
Is it related to the Black Sea Theory?
Yeah, that also. It's going on lah.
What about you?
I think I just wanted to be a little bit chilled out this year. I don't want to raise a lot of hell. Just try to be quiet and
Take
just
the
focus
back seat
on one. Yeah, take a back seat.
So the past few years all ரொம்ப பிஞ்சு போச்சுல.
In a way, if it's, when we're younger, you can do a lot of things. You can be carefree, but nowadays you have a business to take care of people to manage.
Responsibilities there.
So you need to really be careful what you say.
You have a reputation to maintain.
Exactly. You cannot run your mouth. If you go Google and try to find the tweets that I actually used to tweet, it's going to cause a lot of controversy. So, this year is just sitting down and just not talk too much.
I think your tweets were very legendary at one point. But was it? I don't want to pull the name, but now it's okay. But it was quite legendary.
Right. So that's that.
You guys can do your own research lah, right?
Yeah. So tell us aside to that, what are you currently doing? How's things have been for you?
I kind of do a lot of things nowadays, but one thing that takes a lot of my time is the sustainability part of the business. I think everybody in Malaysia, especially talking about sustainability, even though they don't know what sustainability is, people are just like, Taro, I'm sustainable, I'm ESG compliant, this and that. So for people who can actually talk the way through, people like me, I think this is a good field for us to be in. Telling people how to be sustainable, even though they know how to be sustainable, but you.
So when you say sustainable, what angle is it?
We very much look at emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. So Malaysia sadly doesn't have any laws right now, but companies are voluntarily complying to emission control and everything. So we do audits on greenhouse gas audits for companies, specifically in manufacturing. And I don't know, but tons of our clients are actually from the kelapa sawit industry. So those are the people we're actually dealing with a lot. So it's been something that I've been doing. At the same time, got side projects as well, things like passion projects, trying to help especially Indian youths for them to grow and professionally. But sad lah, a lot of initiatives, a lot of things.
How's the responses then?
Terrible. Right? I don't know whether Indians don't care or they just don't want to upskill themselves. You try to whatever you give them, for them, if it's not in their interest, they really don't want to do it.
Do they ever give feedbacks or how they are?
God lah, they want to come to class, they ask me to pay for Grab and everything like that. That's the feedback I get.
Since we've touched on that subject, I know that you come from a corporate consultancy background as well. So you're very well versed in terms of hiring talents.
Right.
You were into MTech last time also, right? On that part,
way
back, right?
Different life.
So there's startups and all that, right? So I think you're very well versed in that scene, right? So recently we've been reading about the SPM results.
Yeah.
Right? So just now we were discussing, you said 11,000 SPM students got straight A's. At the same time, 10,000 didn't even go for the exam.
Exactly.
Right? So being in this background, is it a surprising fact for you to see these numbers, or you're like, yeah, it looks like it lah. Apdi paakringala apdi?
I think it's a cause and effect thing. Especially when you look at last year was at 7,000 plus people with straight A's. This year 11,000 plus people with straight A's. I think a lot of people who are actually on the lower end of the society, the ones that have issues with studying and whatnot, they look at this 11,000 and they go like, why do I even bother competing with these kind of guys? I just want to go and continue my studies lah. Because no matter how I do, I probably cannot compete with this 11,000. I think that's kind of mentality that you have. When you talk to those people, actually, I'm sorry to say this, but people who are actually doing Grab, things that are unskilled work, when you talk to them, hey, why you guys don't want to go and upskill? There's two things they always say. One, they say is that there's no way I can compete. Second, they blame race and religion lah. So that's something you can help out with. But when you look back at the first thing, right, when they say it's about I cannot compete. It's true. You cannot compete if you even, no matter if you're a good student, you cannot compete nowadays. Because whether you like it or not, nowadays it's not about what you know. It's about who you know. Right?
Cables.
Not to say cables, is very much about connections, right? So it's very
Connection
hard.
is also in a certain way you can also look at it as exposure, right? Like how exposed to you to the actual industry,
Exactly.
the people that's involved in the industry,
Right.
and
Exposure to people generally,
Right.
socially.
Okay.
If you're siloed within your own community, is a different thing. Yeah.
Being us, four of us here, we were actually talking about topics and everything. We are kind of blessed, right? If you take a look back at our parents and everything, probably we had a little bit of exposure when we were growing up. I heard stories about your dads and everything, right? So you guys know to a certain extent what to do with life, right? And a lot of this younger generation, especially the urban people, I'm not talking about even the rural guys. Rural guys kind of have it okay, but people who are actually in the urban environment where both parents are working, parents go to work in the morning, come back in the evening, they don't care about the children, what they're happening. You know how they do it? They outsource their education to tuition centers and everything.
Yeah.
And then they tell the story to your sons and daughters saying that I am working, I do everything for you, so you guys just need to study. But end of the day, they don't grow up the way they want to.
Yeah.
Right? I think the urban population, I'm sure if you go at the 10,000 that didn't take SPM, mostly is going to be urban. Because urban, I think, is one of the place that the exposure is not there. People don't care.
Yeah.
There's too many distractions. So problems.
There seems to be a trend on TikTok that the tak hade thing, I guess, a part of the 10,000.
No, you really ask them, so why didn't they tak hadir? Are they tak hadir because they don't care? I don't think they tak hadir because they're scared.
Seems like a badge of honor for them, lah. Right?
Maybe lah.
Where do you think the parents, since you mentioned about that whole father episode and all that, right? Do you think the parenting has a role here with these kids and
is it
stuff?
a big moving part or it's one of the moving
Definitely.
components?
I think Prakash and me we only are the ones that actually have kids here. But I think it makes a lot of difference when you have engaged and non-engaged parents, right? I'm not talking about the helicopter parent. Helicopter parenting, I have a story later, I'll tell you guys. But I think when the parents are involved, not only in terms of education, I think one of the things a lot of kids lack nowadays is parents actually telling their kids that they're proud of them, they love them, they care about them. I don't think we do it enough nowadays.
They need some form of reinforcement. Yeah.
Right. I don't think, no, sorry to my dad, but I don't think my dad ever said he loved me. Right? But there was that, there was a different time, long time ago. But nowadays you have to tell your children that they're enough, they're good. I love you, I care for you. If you don't do that, that's the statistic the 10,000 people just want to rebel against the parents and say, you don't love me, so I don't have to do anything for you. These kind of things that keep on happening. So definitely parenting should be something that it needs to be hands-on. Tell your kids you love them. If you don't do that, I think it's going to be very hard.
Go on. It's okay. Go on. It's okay. Don't worry.
No, I think just touching on that whole parenting and students and schools and all that, right? So எனக்கு ஒரு கேள்வி இருக்கு. Usually is something I wanted to ask as well. It's about Tamil schools lah. I'm not from a Tamil school, but I know when you talk about Tamil school, there are so many programs, there are so many motivational speakers. You'll be there, trying to say that I have this program, you can join this program, you can be certified. Here's a certification, then you can use this certification for higher studies. Example lah, contoh, standard 6 la படிக்கும் form 1 போற டைம்ல வந்து இந்த certificateலாம் ரொம்ப முக்கியமா இருக்கும், help you to do a lot of things. What's your take on it? Do you see it infested with so many scammers or something like that?
I did write about this, and I actually was covered by local media as well. I think when it comes to Tamil schools, right? I didn't go to Tamil school, but my grandfather and my aunt were actually Tamil school headmasters, so I kind of know what exactly is happening, and I have a lot of friends who are actually teachers and whatnot, right? I think a lot of Tamil schools are trying to be what they are not, especially because of the competition. They want to show that they are better than sekolah kebangsaan. A lot of them try to do a lot of things, try to improve themselves and everything. But I feel they go in blindly and then they get scammed. Have you guys heard about all these awards that Tamil schools keep on winning?
Yes.
Science awards.
Yeah.
And you always see it. In social media, they'll cover it.
Someone always shares this kind of thing. Yeah.
This Tamil school won this,
Yeah.
international exhibition, this and that and everything. But it doesn't come out in any mainstream newspapers and everything. And you know what our people will say? People say, oh, this is racism. Just because this is Tamil schools,
Yeah.
nobody else cares and everything. So this is what I did. I kind of, for me, it was something that always kept running in my mind as like, why do Tamil schools do not get the recognition they get? And I actually went and I actually tried to find every single article about every single school that won a science competition. And then, interestingly, it all pointed back to one organization in Indonesia, which is basically like a persatuan on top of a rumah kedai that do not have any type of recognition and whatnot. What they do, they actually use local agents to sell the idea of a competition to Tamil schools, especially because Tamil schools, I don't know, easily and gullible, right?
Gullible, yeah.
They go there, they actually sell this. This is a like pay to win type of schemes. Where end of the day, the PIBG has to raise money to pay 60,000, 50,000 and everything. And then the school
That's a
gets
lot.
a gold medal, competition wise and everything, right?
Yeah.
And if for random type of research on random type of things, they do not even have guidelines and whatnot.
Okay.
But they get victimized and then they actually go there, they say that, nobody acknowledges because we're Tamil school. Is it true then?
Yeah.
Right?
Because
You guys are getting taken for a ride. And the problem is the guys that are doing it are Malaysians. People who are in the Tamil school ecosystem who are actually becoming like agents to sell this fake bogus certification and award program to Tamil schools and everything. Obviously, when you go back to Kementerian Pendidikan and whatnot, they're not going to acknowledge it because you didn't go through the Kementerian.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot blame Kementerian, for being racist or something like that. So I think in the pursuit of being perfect, in the pursuit of being excellent, right? Tamil schools always get into this trap. It's like, all these people who actually want to become alpha, all this generation, and then you get cheated by all these charlatans, like, selling courses and whatnot. Simple.
Similar to the medical graduates who are graduating out of the unrecognized unis and all that. They come back and they also complain about racism.
Right.
Yeah, because they're Indians, they're not giving us the, yeah. We've heard that.
Exactly. I think that's always the easy, way out. Just blame everything on racism, right?
Racism, yeah.
If you do something right, then there's no way of you saying it's racism. But everything else, you guys actually do it in a shortcut way just to become excellent, just to showcase that my Tamil school is better than your Tamil school. And then after that, you jadi mangsa, you blame everybody else. So I think that's something people, there needs to be awareness lah. But people don't want to listen. You know what they say? When you go advise them, they say you dengki. They say, Tamilan kaal bucil tuluang. I don't gain anything. I'm not selling you anything to Tamil schools. I say, if you guys want something for free, come, we give you. But I'm not selling you anything. I don't have to be that Nanda. I'm trying to just say, guys, this is fake. They don't want to listen. Right? So what do you have to say about that? Right?
Yeah, that's a very touchy subject lah.
I mean, it is in a way true because even when you think about it again, the last, not the last, episode 3, we spoke with Sanjay. Sanjay had a similar story about how film festivals are, some of them can be a bit bogus. You can just
a lot are becoming paid to win kind of thing. Yeah,
and then it reminded me of something. I remember this. Sorry, this off track a bit. This RJ Balaji guy. He was mentioning about how to go to Cannes Film Festival, you just need to pay a certain amount of money. I guess if I'm not mistaken, 500 euros or 700 euros or something like that. They will. You just need to come there with your gown or dress or whatever. There will be a private, you'll have a driver, you'll have a limo, everything all covered. You can just run from Cannes Film Festival, take a photo like as if you are one of the special guests for the evening, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய ஓடிக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. And then one more funny thing about it is that you can see it locally happening here. Some of these influencers also, they take this as எப்படி சொல்றது, like a step up ladder. பாரு நான் வந்து Cannes Film Festivalல வந்து கெஸ்டா இருக்கேன்னு. So this is all like correlated, like you ask me. Everything is like
Fake
that.
it till you make it.
Speaking of influencers, what about this generation that are all focused on just becoming influencers and not like upskilling themselves and such?
if everybody wants to become an influencer, who's going to listen? Lah? Right? Everybody, it's just become like a chamber of noise.
Yeah.
People repeating each other what they were trying to say and everything. It's not sustainable. Right now, you're talking about AI influencers and whatever that's up and coming, right?
Who don't know about AI at all.
So there's this term about 0.01%, like the only 0.1% that can actually become the top money earners and everything. A lot of people are trying to become influencers without even like knowing what they're trying to influence, right? So I think it's not sustainable, but there are smart influencers as well, people who actually have made it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and another thing people don't realize, to become influencers also is a lot of money needs to put. You need to buy equipment, you need to have the right type of content,
Yes.
editing, you need to have the right type of art team behind you and whatnot. So, but people think they have a mobile phone and then they dance in TikTok, they can become influencer. It doesn't work like that. You can only like become influencers by dancing so far, but after that, and I'm really against the idea of tak payah study boleh jadi influencer type of mentality that you have.
Yes.
Because what do you influence? How far you want to go?
How far you
Nothing.
can go, yeah.
But it's pretty sad because when you think about it, like a large chunk of our younger generation, they are very like into it, because they see the like it's like the rewards are so much there for them to take. Whereas when you want to study, it's like, படிக்கணுமா? I need to I need to study and then I need to like prove myself. I think you mentioned something earlier before this recording, like how people actually find it like it's why do I need to study? I need to compete, or why do I need to study to do all that? Right? It's a bit sad to think about it. Like, I mean, personally, I think it's
sad because in this age where everything is at your fingertips, correct? Instant gratification is one thing, but then whatever you need to know, you can just Google and instantly find out.
Yeah.
Like when we were in college, I don't think that's YouTube wasn't even Google wasn't there.
Right.
So it was a very different era back then.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this part. So we were talking about upskilling just now and how like there's a lot of free programs, free trainings and everything, and people don't seem to take it up. They don't seem to join it or want to find out about it. Because just now Nedu said something about the Singaporean disorder, right? So you can tell us about that, like, what's the reality of the situation now in terms of like when it comes to training and upskilling themselves and
the
Gen Z,
response
and
to
how
it, yeah.
is it responding and how is it working?
I think that there's two parts to unpack. One is the Malaysian problem, one is the Indian problem.
which is the worst.
I think the Malaysian problem is Malaysian nowadays have this, I would call it the Grab mentality. Because people think that whatever fails also, I can still drive Grab. I can still become a rider. So this kind of puts our youth in a sense of false security. Because for them, they would never be able to not cari makan. When that mindset has crept in, what's happening is people don't care about upskilling anymore, because aku tak upskill pun aku boleh je kerja buat Grab. Aku boleh je buat benda ni, this and that and everything. Right? Same mentality when you apply to the Indian problem. Indian have totally almost similar but different mindset. Indians nowadays, especially the younger generation, because of so much of the politics there's in social media and whatnot, they have this preconceived idea that no matter what you do, the government and everybody else is gonna still discriminate against you. Right? People have this idea that everybody else is out there to just bring you down, and that makes them become very bitter. And they don't want to do anything, even though they say, hey guy, can you there's this course that allows you to become mechanics for electric vehicles, EVs. You know what they'll say? They say this EV all cannot lah, this EVs all the Chinese first already conquer, we cannot go there. Right? And then I have a course, I was telling you just now, we actually subsidized by the government, teach people to become professional baristas with SCA, Specialty Coffee Association certificates that we're actually giving. 60 seats available for Indians, right? How many turn up? 8. Why you ask them why? I say, barista all not glamour lah ne, kopi kalau kena mahal. The Malaysian, one of the Malaysian barista champions are an Indian guy. Right? He's an Indian guy who's actually the international champion, right? These are the type of guys when you actually tell them, they say, barista don't want lah, barista don't want. Coffee don't want. You want to become mechanic don't want. You want to become solar installer don't want. End of the day, what they want, right? You know, the mindset of kids nowadays, they say, can cari makan lah. And you know, when they say cari makan, what they're talking about? They're talking about all the illegal stuff they can do. And they ask them, why you want to do illegal stuff? They say, government doesn't care, so why you want to care for the government? So this is a very dangerous trend lah. I see, you know. You keep on thinking that you have been discriminated. Even if you don't try anything also, you still say people going to discriminate against you. And then you become bitter. So I'm very scared lah, looking at the type of things, because the people that actually supposed to influence mindsets, the politicians, you know, the
Figures, the social figures.
they also tell you the same thing,
Yes.
right? But you cannot use that and not grow yourself, because you know, my people are holding me back. You know, some people, the government is holding me back. You can't use that, because end of the day, you already accept the fact that there are some rules and regulations. Just move on. Lah.
And also, I think there's too many Indians who are doing actually extremely well in a lot of areas.
Right.
Yes.
You know, in business areas, in professional areas.
But they're actually like professional shit stirrers that actually have like NGOs. Like Vicky's friend.
Unregistered NGOs, stop donating. First episode was already, I tell already.
and you know, they just stir shit.
Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying, lah. It's such a pain. I mean, they are a cancer to society, if you ask me, lah.
Right. So these are the guys. Why can't you guys like do something that's progressive? Build something, build a community, build a group of people. No. They just go there, they say, discriminatory.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess it's like some kind of a protective shell for them, but it's a negative protective shell. It's not something positive.
I mean, they use it to profit themselves.
Yeah.
They use it to profit themselves.
Either
they
you-
don't care actually.
Correct.
Ultimately.
Either you have a bunch of people that from the get-go they are very negative. Government's not going to help me or whatever. Like, government ke, the society ke, whatever it may be. Then you have people in between. In the Mary, like Nadaris all come in and just say like, okay, in the Mary, join my NGO and I can do something about it. There's a fund, you put money into that and then see how it goes.
We have that one more issue also of, I think you can excuse the older generation. You know, remember back then we used to complain about how the older people used to trust one particular politician and all that thing. They didn't have information at their fingertip, but the current gen, the gen after us, they have full information under their fingertips, but they still follow this particular figureheads. Wrong term for them, but unfortunately. So what is causing this kind of thing within, you know, why are they?
Why are they? Because there's nobody else to trust. Right? You know, what's the problem with unregistered NGOs and everything? Because I think this is something that probably a lot of people don't know. A lot of government assistance nowadays are actually channeled through NGOs, because you need to actually have that grassroots support of the community for you to actually get the funding to run programs. I think this kind of made a lot of people go and register their own NGOs. And these guys are teaching doom and gloom. They just tell people that, you know, everything that you guys are going to do after this is going to be problematic. You guys can never going to grow. The only way you're going to grow is going to, you know, following us, following our leader, following our party that we are aligned with. The thing is, I think this doom politics is something that is a Malaysian thing, right? You know, everybody talks about doom. They don't talk about the good things.
Yeah.
People talk about, you know, ringgit falling, unemployed graduates and whatnot. But did you actually talk about the good things? You know, where are we number one? Where are we actually growing and whatnot? People don't do that. So, especially with the older generation, I think this kind of resonates with them, especially when they talk about the bad things that one does to you and everything, all these retirees and everything, you know. They like to hear these kind of things because they like to complain.
Yes.
Right? Everybody complains. Ask them what's the solution. Nobody got a solution. Complain can lah. What's the solution?
No one has a solution.
Complaints now. You go sit in coffee shop and everything, right?
Yeah.
When I actually go to work from my house there, like there's this shop that all the uncles will sit down and talk. And the only thing you listen from uncles is they complain. They complain everything, and you don't even know what they're talking about. And recently, an uncle told me, real story, the uncle told me that SPAD, Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Awam Darat, is owned by. I was like,
Still, wow.
So, these are the type of people that are actually like talking to the younger generation. It becomes dumber and dumber. lah.
It's like it segues them to this younger generation lah. அந்த வயசானவங்க பேசுறது பார்த்துட்டு they just
They
follow through,
absorb and then, but they start looking at everywhere else lah. They don't even do their research also, unfortunately. Yeah.
I have uncles who actually like, I live in a very Indian area, lah, right? So, you have like uncles who actually don't pay their water bills, don't pay the cukai tanah, cukai pintu and everything. And they will blame everybody else. When the pejabat tanah or something come and want to, tutup the water supply and everything, they say, oh, this country is racist. So these are the type of things that I think ultimately we should stop
Yeah.
blaming everybody else for our problems. Acknowledge that's the problem. There is a problem, right? And just think about what's the solution for it. You cannot keep on telling the problem, and everything. I think that's something that differentiates people who are excellent by people who don't want to actually grow.
Okay, but see, from what you've said so far, lah. So you've addressed the problem, as it is every problem, the reality of the situation, and you also said there are also solutions that's being provided by NGOs, by the government, and everything. But there seems to be a lack of connectivity between these two realms, இப்போ நீங்க சொல்றீங்க opportunity இருக்குது, like the barista thing. It's not only 8 people turn up out of 60 seats, right?
60.
Okay, இப்போ opportunity இங்க இருக்குது, இங்க problem இருக்குது. இப்போ இந்த connecting இதுதான் எங்க lag பண்ணுது? Where does it lag? Why two of these things are not connecting? Where there's a problem and the solution is there for you to take, but why aren't they taking it?
I would say this is the channels that people subscribe to, right? I think when it comes to Indians, we are very, when you discuss in between us lah, we don't want to actually be very, what's the word for it? We don't want to be very confrontational. We don't want to be, asking the hard questions. We try to always avoid the hard questions. We try to be nice to everyone. We want everybody to like us. People don't go out there. If you go and ask the hard questions, people say you guys are just creating trouble, creating problems. Right? I think this is similarly because people just want to have content, everything that's fun, everything that is, easy for them. People don't want to go and follow boring stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I give an example, like Kementerian Perpaduan Negara got Mitra. Now I think they moved back to JPN, Jabatan Perdana Menteri. They have like tons of programs that they actually put on their website all the time, but their followers are very low. People don't share the content that they share, right? At the same time, let's say you create a WhatsApp message saying that, let's say, take something like aloe vera cures heart problems and everything. You type it, you forward it to a group of uncles, you see which kind of messages kind of goes faster. So I think it's the way we consume content. If you want to go look for your solutions, you need to change the way you consume content, right? I think the biggest problem Indians have in Malaysia, especially, is TikTok lah.
Yeah.
I kind of sit down and look at the things that people spew on TikTok. Obviously, there's good content.
Yes, there is.
But 90% of it, I think, is just
That's a lot of it are trash. Yeah.
trash content. That just people, I don't know, people just say things for the sake of saying things, right?
especially the live TikTok videos. அது பார்க்கிறதுக்கே, I mean, I don't watch them, but I've seen a few, and then they can get very, very chaotic lah.
I also think you cannot blame the people for everything. I think there's also lack of direction when it comes to people in power, when communication wise, right? Strategic communication, especially with the new it's very lacking, especially the type of messages you want to deliver to the community. So hence you have a lot of these politically charged messages coming down, and people kind of believe that. And then of the day, people become very bitter. I think I kind of repeated this word. I think wherever I go nowadays, especially with Indians, they are very bitter. There's nothing for me. There is this one thing, they become like very hateful, vengeful type of people. But the solution is there for you to go and find, but you don't want to find. That's the problem.
So whatever part they are being bitter on, right? Let's say எப்போதும் சொல்றது வந்து okay, they're not getting like enough support from government or enough support from other bodies and all that. But that is not the reality of the situation, isn't it?
It can be both lah. One, obviously there are some. I wouldn't say 100% supportive of Indians and whatnot, but there's a lot of problems from our side as well. We need to acknowledge at first. For example, like people come to me say, I want to start a business. Can we get a loan? Right? I say, yeah, go to this agency and everything. Then after 2 days, they come to back. They say, this kind of guy is very racist. This agency is racist. These people are racist. Say, what's your problem? You go see there, this fella that actually go to find a loan doesn't even have registered business. Doesn't even know how to write a business plan. Have never maintained any type of accounting for his business. Right? You can't blame everything when you also are not at the right. So I think there's a mix of these kind of things that we actually need to address. So disjoint is there, but not 100% is the problem because of you or me. The system is like that.
I also remember during this period, under JPN, Jabatan Perdana JPM,
Jabatan Perdana Menteri.
Jabatan Perdana Menteri, there was seat. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் நினைக்கிறேன். Seat programs,
Yeah.
I think monthly they do about once every month lah.
Right.
In 3 or 4 star hotels usually with meals and everything, only 1 ringgit you have to pay. And the type of people they brought in are like very top notch people, top notch, sorry, it's an inside joke. So they brought in people like, but it was also like very basic kind of things that related to business, SSM, how to keep your books and all that kind of thing. That kind of things, and they brought a lot of people from the training industry, from a lot of industry, engineering industry, எல்லாம் பேசுறதுக்கு. So 800 to 1,000 people every month, and you just have to pay 1 ringgit. So these kind of programs, I used to go to all of it, and there will be some problems that's being brought up by the attendees lah. So some silly problems lah. They always like, I feel that time when I was sitting there, why people are failing to look at the bigger picture here. Why are they failing to look at what seed is trying to do actually?
Right.
அவங்களுக்கு தலையெழுத்து இல்லை இது. ஒரு வழி கட்டிட்டு உனக்கு சாப்பாடு கொடுத்து உன்னை கூப்பிட்டு உட்கார வச்சு ஹோட்டல்ல வச்சு ட்ரெயினர்ஸ் கூப்பிட்டு எவ்வளவு கமிட்மெண்ட், எவ்வளவு பெரிய வேலை இது. To propagate this whole thing is not easy.
Right.
But people sometimes take it for granted also. Like me personally, I learned a lot from seed. I mean, not the basics of SSM, all we know about that, but some things are like very useful. But also that how you pakai your cable inside, you just have to glide your way through, look at people, make friends with them and all that, right? So this is one of the example lah. So when we are talking about all these, there's also like a problem in Malaysia, like always, there's problem with hiring lah. So about hiring an Indian youth lah. Indian youth, sometimes I've seen complaints they don't get hired.
I won't hire Indian youths just because they're Indian youths, okay?
So if I send my resume to you,
You reject lah.
No lah, depends lah. You cannot just hire a person based on the fact that they are
the
the
race.
same race. Right? I think it's sad right, when people who actually are qualified, okay, that cannot go anywhere, and at the same time you have people who don't care. Right? When you talk about Indian candidates, right? Don't quote me when I say I would want to hire Indian candidates, but I have staff. Okay, we hired her. She's a PhD candidate directly from a degree. She went to PhD, and she is a Anugerah Emas Diraja. Right, which is like a second award in the university that she won, and she couldn't get job even though she attended tons and tons of interviews, right? And when you actually go to the reason why exactly people like this are not getting hired, you realize that she actually come from a PPR environment, right? Which in a way, for Indians, it's a problem because, you growing up in that environment, you do not have the window to what's available outside there. Right? So even though you are good,
socially you're disconnected.
Right? Socially you're disconnected. You do not know who's hiring. You do not know who wants to actually hire you and everything. I think it's a kind of like in a way our youths feels that they're not good enough because they are actually put in this environment of a disadvantage. Recently, we actually had a booth, right, where in a national level event, and I had like Chinese kids that are just after degree and everything. Just even though it was not a hiring event, they just come with the CVs and everything. Just pass you the CV, telling them how much just graduated, and is your company hiring? We want to work for you. At the same time, you also have a significant number of Malay youths coming in. But I probably throughout that 3 days probably had like 4 Indian youths turning up, right? I think one of the things that we need to fix, especially with our youths, is the confidence to actually go and network with people. we don't have that. We are a generation, we are a group of people that always
Stick among ourselves.
stick among ourselves. We don't actually go and mingle around. We are afraid. We are afraid of being laughed at. We are afraid of being ridiculed. Right? We are afraid of not being accepted. But it's going to be that like everywhere, every time, right? So I think when I say you don't want to hire Indians, you want to make sure that they fit the criteria that you have. You cannot just hire because they're Indian.
Yeah, they have to be qualified.
They have to be
Diversity
qualified.
quota,
Right? And for me, I think that's something that personally I try to help Indians. Right? I try to wherever we can, we try to do it. But you need to meet me halfway, lah.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
I asked you to come to class. You're asking me for money for Grab. Right? I already give you
So
free class.
really happened, huh?
Really happened. I call them. I say, where are you from? I say from JB. Okay, I'm doing my class in Medini and everything. I'll give you makan. I give you minum. I give you allowance 30 ringgit. I even give them allowance 30 ringgit per day. Right? The girl can still ask me, sir, can you pay for my Grab for me to come from my house to the class? So these are the type of problems we have, lah. And also it's been a toxic thing that parents do nowadays. Parents kind of try to what we call shield children, the youth too much.
Yeah.
Indian parents nowadays, like, I know better. I know better what I can do for my son, for my daughters and everything. Particular. Recently, I had a guy lah, just SPM result. Maybe he's in his 50s lah. He came to me and say, bro, I want to ask you something. Can I say, yeah? I want to get my children to study AI. I say, good. Yeah, and everything. Which university should I send? I say, what's your children's result? Uncle was like, okay lah, yeah, okay, can cukup makan lah and everything. It's like, okay, cukup makan is one thing lah. Which public university gonna get you in for cukup makan and everything? And I have to ask him one question, like, how good are your children with computers? You know, then I realized he was telling me he has never let the children use computers at home because he was afraid they're gonna do
Porn.
maybe. Right? You do not even like prepare your children for the basics of knowing what the computer works and everything. And at the age of 17,
You want them to study.
you want to actually put them in AI, which you do not even have the basics to, right? So I think this is also a problem of us ukur baju di badan sendiri, they say, right? So you can't push the person to do the things that they want to do just because you have to.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of challenges there lah. So I think good that parents are going out there thinking what's best for the children, but at the same time I think there should be a lot of more engagement, right, with people that know better.
They're a bit misguided lah. They're a bit misguided.
I got something. I mean, just going back slightly on the another internet research பண்றது அதெல்லாம் இருக்குல்ல. Then this is something I kind of share the sentiment with you, like, because looking at what you've actually put out here. So because you mentioned about how red pill influences are taking. I mean, you can see clearly a lot of Indian youth or Indian boys out there. They are more into the whole red pill influences. They like the idea of becoming a toxic male. I don't know lah. I mean, I can consider myself as a toxic male. I mean,
We all are.
look at my face. If you look at my face, so you'll think I'm a toxic male and all that, right? But what's your take on it? Because for me, I have a totally different opinion. I feel that sometimes boys need to be boys, but there's also a very negative shade into it. But what's your take on it? சும்மா கேட்கலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
I have a son, 14 years old, right? So all the Gen Z things that.
Wait, you got a 14-year-old son?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So all the Gen Z type of things are actually like I know from him,
Okay.
right? And I'm scared of the person that he might turn out to be. He's not there, but I'm scared of the type of influences that they're actually putting in it, and you go outside there, you see, you realize that these influencers are explicitly targeting this group of people.
Yes.
These 14, 15, 13 years old with the content they put in, their target audience and everything. And it's what's causing this kind of kids to be very, very toxic in a way. Because they don't have anybody at home to actually to tell them what's right and wrong. Parents are busy working
guide
and
them
whatnot,
and all,
right?
yeah.
So it is scary when the languages that they use, the messages that they're trying to deliver, right? They look at Andrew Tate and they go like, this is the guy that I want to be, right? And everybody else is a nerd. There's this term that kids use is NPC.
NPC, yes.
Right. Everybody else is an NPC. So if you're a parent, I think probably you should monitor what content your kids are consuming.
So skibidi toilet is not too bad lah.
Yeah, skipping toilet is okay lah.
So you're kind of, you go to anywhere also nowadays, you see parents just give a mobile phone to the child.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you just, okay, you behave, I give you a mobile phone, then that's it. But have you ever considered what type of content they actually have being using? So it's scary in terms of, especially with the Indian youth. We already have a lot of problems. We already have an ஆம்பளை நான் வந்து பிரச்சனைனா நான் இறங்கிடுவேன் and I think now you have people who are actually even giving them much more toxicity in their life, right? So it's scary. So better you, if you're a parent, if you have a son, you have a sibling or something like that, just be a little bit careful of what content they consume lah. It's very, very scary. Right. Even like right now we're putting out content, we're talking stuff and everything, okay? But do like Gen Z want to actually listen to people like us?
That's another thing lah.
Right? So that's the thing lah.
We are too sane for that.
Do you do you have like a real life experience where okay, maybe when you try to hire someone or you try to get someone into a training or whatever, right? And you see the way they reacted or the way they performed in the interview that made you feel very, not cringe, feel like very scared, like scared. And then you ask me, this is the situation or reality. Is this the reality of the situation that made you like genuinely scared? Is there anything like that?
There are two stories I would like to share here. There's one that we hired a few years back, and then there's one scenario now which is very funny. For one, we actually were hiring 3 positions. So there was 20 plus people that we shortlisted to interview. And it was an online interview, first stage lah, right? So I had 2 Indian boys. Everybody else is mixed lah, Malay, Chinese and everything. Everybody else was okay when they interviewed, right? Like, properly dressed, right? Have proper lighting, proper thing and everything. One Indian guy came in for an interview. He said his camera is not working. Right? So, which is a red flag already lah. Okay? But he kind of like goreng his way around. Okay, fine. Then I had another guy actually doing his masters in a university in Bangi. I would want to say which university is it. Right? Macam came in interview sitting in his kitchen wearing a t-shirt lah, bro. Right. I know this is an online interview lah, but at least
Look presentable lah.
Presentable lah. Right? You're standing in your kitchen, there's an interview and everything.
Standing somehow.
Standing in a kitchen, wearing a collared t-shirt, right? And everything. And then like just directly telling me, maybe I work here after, then if I get a better option, so probably I will go and everything, right? Not even like that, right?
Full of confidence.
confidence, yes, but it's a good kind of confidence, but it's also scary.
Yeah.
Right. So previously we also hired not say hired, we kind of took in people from government has this reskilling program.
Okay.
Right. We got in people and everything. So we had the first day of orientation and everything, and asked the candidates lah. Okay, hey guys, do you have any questions and everything? You know what? The Indian guy, the first thing the floor actually asked me, Indian guy, leave and say, sir, I have a question. I say, yes, go ahead, sir. If I want to go to interview, can I take off or not? What kind of things, what kind of what do you call confidence it gives you in that. So that's one thing. And recently we want to hire an intern, so we just said the internship opportunities and everything. And I get a call, right? And the person that I called was a lady. So she called me and said, hello, hi, what's your name? My name is so and so. I say, okay, are you interested in the position? Then the lady went, no, I'm not interested in this position. I say, huh? And then why you call me? Say, position is for a nephew. I say, then why are you calling me? Why can't your nephew call me? Because internship is for your nephew. I just want to assess your company first.
Oh, hebatnya.
Right?
Boss lady.
She want to assess my company. She asked me, hey, where's your office? Huh? Your real office or fake office? Right? How much salary you will give? You give your salary what day? What time? And everything, right? And I was like, madam, this is something that is not relevant for this discussion. Can I know a little bit about your nephew? Oh, my nephew later will send CV to you. I just want to talk to you first. So this kind of things like, Gen Z thing that for me, it's kind of surprising, right? It's kind of eye-opening to a certain extent. So you have those who really know what they want. They don't care about stepping on toes, telling you I want to go for interviews somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you have these people who are like so timid, so protected and everything. They don't even know what they want to do, right? And then you have to find those in between that are not too much, that are not too timid, and that's a sweet spot lah. So I think there's a lot of opportunities if you really find it. So you need to.
How are the preparedness of this Gen Z or whoever you've interviewed so far? Like, are they how much are they prepared to get into in the industry and all that?
I think when it comes to knowledge, they do have the knowledge, right? The biggest disjoint with current generation is the disjoint between what they studied for and what the industry actually needs.
What they can apply.
Right.
Okay.
I know, Prakash, you're from the IT industry background and everything, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest thing that we need to have is the ability to ask the right questions, the ability to understand what exactly does your client want,
Yes.
why they want the things that they want,
Yep.
right? I think the biggest issue right now is the disjoint where you only want to know the things within your organization. You don't want to ask the right question to make things better for your client. Right?
Yes.
Everybody don't want to talk. Everybody wants to be prescribed introvert type of thing, right? They don't want to talk. They don't want to ask the right question. They just want to sit in the office, until 5 o'clock. Maybe I sound like an uncle complain lah. But at the end of the day, it's if you have that kind of mindset and the problem the industry has, that's why you say people kind of say I don't have the right talent. It's not the right talent, is the ability to connect the dots lah. Is the biggest issue that we have.
Normalizing being introverted, so I think it's a bit of a negative thing to me because it seems to be the cool thing. I'm not saying being introvert is bad. But some people out there, they're
glorifying it actually. They're glorifying it in a very wrong way.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, I would say, like myself, let me just, I was at a point in my life where I don't like to talk. I was very timid. I don't really see the need to talk to others. All the things that we just talked about, right? But then my experience with working for a company that is not under Indians, sorry, I'm on Indians a lot here, I guess. Working for a company that is not an Indian company, I get told to do things like straight on my face. Like they tell me if you are really messed up, they will tell you are messed up. This is where you are wrong. Buck up or get the fuck out. It's like that's how they tell this to you.
It's a very harsh environment.
So அந்த மூஞ்சில அடிச்ச மாதிரி பேசணும்னா then you will feel okay நம்ம வந்து இப்படி கேக்குறாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு then we will try to improve. And that was when I was about 19, 20 years old. So this is from there I start to see like myself. I should try to talk more. And my work initially that time was doing sales, and I can't be doing sales
Without talking.
sitting there and then people would come in and then yes, how can I help you? This I can't do that. So eventually it kind of gave me some exposure, and I managed to build myself. I won't say I'm an introvert or whatever, though sometimes I do feel like I will address the room and stuff like that. But it's always, I feel it's very important to actually, reach out and speak to people. You never know. You never know. You see somebody, you might feel that maybe this person can offer something that I've been looking for. And you see like the example like that PPR flats person. I mean, came from PPR. They without like reaching out to anyone or within the limitations of their life, and the potential is gone. And sometimes you can see that happening, right?
And some tend to use the introvert issue as a crutch.
Yeah.
Just as an excuse. Yeah.
I think that there's another side to this, especially when people reach out to Indians. I think we have a toxic trait. Sometimes I also have it, that we try to patronize people who actually reach out to us.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
When people ask you a question, how to do this, the first thing the Indian person will ask, this one also you don't know how to do.
Yeah.
Right? You need to first, agree that they're going to be people who have knowledge less than you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't
that's
do
a
that.
good
We
point.
kind of directly go and say that, this one also you don't know. Last time when I was young, nobody teach me. That's your problem lah. Recently there was this 5-year-old girl, Darjah 5 kid that was actually made to stand in the sun until the kid became an okay. All the Indian uncles were commenting what, and I say, hey, last time when I was small also, I also stand in front of in the sun also, I also no problem ni.
It's not like that. You cannot compare it like that.
You people keep on my time was like that. My time I kena rotan with cikgu, I never complain. My time I get bullied in school, I never complain. That was your time. The whole idea of community, the whole idea of civilization is to make things better for the next generation, So we have this toxic thing inside of us that kind of makes us be very patronizing towards people who actually look up to us to seek help.
What's the other word? Condescending.
Condescending.
You cannot do that. You cannot, try to make. Obviously, we had it bad. Okay, I had it bad. You guys, everybody had it bad when you were younger. At the same time, just because my teacher rotan me, I cannot have the same emotional, type of torture happening to my children or whoever's children that's younger. So, I think this is something specifically for this topic. If people come and approach us for help, to connect with us, to talk with us, we at least try to go down at their level and understand their problems. You don't become நம்மள எனக்கு யாரும் உதவி பண்ணலப்பா அப்புறம் நான் உனக்கு ஏன் உதவி பண்ணணும் நான் எனக்கு யாரும் சொல்லி கொடுக்கல I need to go and learn from. You cannot do that. I think this is one of the very bad habits that we keep on seeing happening in Indians lah. So try to we need to try to work on that.
Okay, so I think from the beginning we spoke about the problems and the reality of the situation and everything. There's also the other side. They are also like the ultra successful Indian professionals, Indian students, Indian businessmen. Okay, let's leave businessmen aside because that requires a different skill set lah.
Right.
The survival skill, அது கொஞ்சம் வேற மாதிரியான game. Okay, let's say like professionals who climb the corporate ladder or who made really good lives for themselves and all that. So even the youth, the current youth, they are doing well, who's very focused in their careers and everything. What do you think that they are doing right? That right, the people like who's following influencers or with no with no guidance, right? They are just doing whatever they can, and you said like we always can do Grab and this kind of. So what do you think the real professionals who are people are very focused are doing it right? What are they doing right that these people are not doing right?
I think the key is discipline lah. I think this is something that we rarely talk about. It's consistently doing the thing that you're supposed to do and adhering to that set of standards. Discipline is the hardest thing to achieve, especially when you want to do something. Like Vicky, you have done sales before, right? Sales is about calling people, keep on calling, persistence call, doing follow up and check. If you do not have discipline in that field, you cannot expect sales to come to you.
Yeah.
I think looking at those people who are actually really successful, and those people who are like on the mid level of things, I think discipline makes a lot of difference. Having that structure in place. One of the things we realize, people who are actually like successful always take care of their health. They always do not go and overindulge themselves. They have that certain level of control. I think that comes from discipline. If you do not have discipline, you do not have the ability to tell yourself no to certain indulgences. I think you can't ever be successful, especially in Malaysia. Discipline is key, right? So whether you have discipline or not, this is a totally different thing.
Okay, slightly touching on another thing, like again, based on what you pointed out.
It's okay. The mic won't pick it up.
In your opinion, like what are some of the alternative career pathways Indians can say? Like for example, you mentioned earlier, காஃபி கலக்கணுமா அதெல்லாம் வேணாம் எனக்கு பிடிக்கல எனக்கு அதில் கிளாஸ் இல்லை அது மாதிரிலாம்
மாமா கல்ல வேலை செஞ்சது.
Those are not academically inclined like that.
Yeah. So what do you think, like certain jobs can fit them or can be suitable for them?
I would say this is something, I think I wrote about this in LinkedIn as well in the past. One of the things that if you think you are not academically inclined in terms of writing exams and everything, college vocational is especially a very good outlet for a lot of Indian youths. Especially now you have dual career pathways where you can actually go to college vocational and then go and do your degree and whatnot through Sijil Kemahiran Malaysia, SKM and whatnot. I think this is something that's really sad, because when you go to college vocational and everything, you have a lot of you cannot see Indians lah. Right? There's no requirements that you know.
Is there a reason why there are not a lot of Indians there?
People don't know. People don't know, and they don't want to know. Right?
I think it's a letter, right? Do you think it's a letter?
I wouldn't
Do they
say
look
that.
down on college vocational?
They do.
They do.
They do. I think one of the things I spoke about previously was college vocational or sekolah teknik finding வந்து jahat na. You cannot do anything. You send to college vocational. College vocational had this bad
Reputation
reputation jahat. That you can do a lot of things with college vocational, right? You can actually go and learn a mechanical side of things, electrical side of things. These are things that will never not have demand, right? You will always have people that actually.
I have a story to share lah in terms of vocational school, right? So there's this guy I know.
I went to college vocational, so I have it's very close to my heart lah. So I always ask Indian play, why do you want to go college vocational? Sekolah teknik they don't want. Far must be in hostel. Funny story. Ask why do you want to go? Must be in hostel. Good lah. Oh no, hostel. They asked me to eat beef. Right. Why?
I don't think they come and force it down the road.
Okay.
Take this rundown now. It's good.
These are the real things that I hear. They ask me to stay hostel. They ask me to convert. Right. So this is quite funny lah, especially when you listen for people who are actually educated parents and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go technique, get this basic knowledge things that are never college vocational, and even if you're beyond that, if you're already after school and everything, there is a lot of college community.
Community colleges.
College community and entry level is basically zero. You just have to be Malaysian. Right?
Okay.
There's a lot of things you can learn, and college community also allows you to actually get your loans from Tekun and whatnot. So if you really don't want to study, you don't want to go to academic route, there's a route for you. Whether you want it or not, that's up to the individuals lah.
Before Vinod can continue his story, எனக்கு சக்குன்னு வந்து மண்டல. What about people who are like say my age, in the mid 30s or whatever, that have they set aside their education at one point, then they start working the way up the ladder and all that again. Aside to like going to places like Open University or whatever, doing like a sort of like a what do you call that, postgraduate degree? என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க அது? Something like that, right?
Professional certification.
Something like that, right? Does the government or any like body support this kind of people, or it's very specifically for youth?
Nowadays, especially if you like coming from non-academic background, okay, there is a thing called APEL, which is a prior learning in a professional setting. So imagine like you've been working for 20 years, but you do not have any paper qualifications. You can still go into university based on whatever experiences that you have working. Like for example, you said you're in marketing and sales. You want to continue a degree in masters, you can't. You cannot do directly, but through Apple you can actually go. These are kind of things that people do not know, right? And a lot of government agencies now also actually give a lot of what we call the internship programs. So that's something, even I think cutoff date is 30, 35. So those kind of things you can actually apply, right? Recently, I think Security Commission has actually launched a program for people to become junior analysts, right? And you don't hear a lot about it from the Indian community because people don't talk about it, right? So there are ways for you to actually to go there. There are supporting bodies, right? The agencies. So it's just a matter of us going and trying to see what's good for you.
Okay, I think we are almost at the end, right? So I wanted to share that story. So I had a friend, இப்போ contact இல்ல schooling time 15 years old. They asked him to stand up and read this karangan in front of the class. He couldn't read it properly. No? So
pencil.
This was in Malay or English, I can't remember. But he was very bad. He couldn't read. But அவர் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மாதிரி gangster இதெல்லாம் பண்ணிக்கிறார். But this guy can see he's always துருன்னு இருக்கிற character. So it's very very Rajin kind of type, but not very well academically. So when we were after school and everything, when we were 19, some of us are still looking for colleges and all that. Our friend at that time was using Honda Civic ready.
Okay.
At that time, latest Honda Civic. So I said, what are you doing? He said after Form 3, he went to vocational school. He learned electrical engineering and all that. At the same time, his elder brother was working on ships. So our friend went and entered, and then he somehow built his business there. He became a contractor to do all the electrical big ships. At that age, it's very young age. So he was very successful back then itself. People all the other friends were still studying and trying to graduate. Our friend was already there. Financially, he was already very settled, already buying cars and doing his business. So when you say technical courses like that can help, I've seen real people doing real things.
That's why it is I mean, you have to seek it out. I mean, you have to seek for something which is what I mentioned earlier. Sometimes we just அப்படியே அந்த குக்கூன்குள்ளே இருப்போம். Then we feel this is comfortable for me.
Sometimes you try to go linear, but branch out you have to.
Also, Nedu, if having said all that you have said today, right? So I think people will know that you came from a background where you can help people, not directly. Also means if it's not direct help, you can probably nudge them into the right direction. Right, correct? Yes. So I know from those days, I've seen people asking you about business plan, people asking you about startups, about VCs and all that, and I've always seen you nudging people into the right direction in Facebook itself. Okay, so let's say if you have a youth 17, 18, 19 years old, a bit clueless on what to do, in the process of finding themselves or what they want to do and all that, right? So if they need to come to you, so can you please tell us your means of contact?
Right, I think the best way to approach me is through my LinkedIn.
Okay.
Nedumaran Elangovan.
We will put that link.
I will put the link.
So I'm willing to talk, and also another thing is that we do a lot of courses, right? On the 5th, we also doing a course for GSG accounting for public. Anybody can come and join and whatnot. So we kind of have this thing internally to do a lot of free stuff for people and community. So if they are interested, we can actually run courses for them as well.
Okay.
For free, I'm not charging anything. So we try to help wherever we can.
One more thing, yes, whatever he's been saying, all these programs, and it's always, mostly I think 99%, it's always free.
Yeah, yes, it's free, and then please don't ask for Grab money.
Don't ask for Grab money.
I think this is where people always ask. You cannot even complain. You cannot just complain. You need to be a part of the solution.
Yes.
So I think this is where we are trying to be a part of the solution. We are trying to give people as much as we can, and the offer for barista is still open Anybody wants to become barista?
I would love to be a barista.
I cannot. Send me the bills or whatever later.
But there's a catch
We will splash it
below the TS.
So I think we can conclude, right? So நீங்க நம்மளோட email சொல்லிருங்க.
And then as always, thank you very much for watching or listening to this whole episode. It's been quite a pleasure to have Nedumaran here with us. And as always, you can always contact us via email at vandukadinga@gmail.com. I will again spell it out: VANTHUKADINGGE@gmail.com. We're also available on all platforms. Not all. I mean, OnlyFans la onnu illa. We only have like Facebook.
Soon.
Soon. Ayyo.
Facebook, TikTok,
Sorry,
IG.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and also YouTube, and also Spotify. Whichever platform that you fancy, you can definitely tune in. And thank you so much for all the support for our previous episodes, and especially even from Nedu, because he actually particularly enjoyed our father episode. I think he actually found it very interesting. So yeah, that's that. And as always, until we see you for the next episode, take care and bye.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.